I got the executive session done pretty quick tonight, so maybe we can do this.
You know, what can I tell you? Obviously, everybody's more chatty when I'm around, so it's when I'm not. Yeah, go.
Just wait till next week when I give the financial presentation. It'll be even better. Okay, so I guess the first item that was a late addition today is the display of the Pride flag during Pride Month, which is June. So I actually don't have any backup on that. So
this opportunity came to us from Councilwoman Lori Morton. So Lori, do you want to discuss this topic or introduce it?
Sure. I just had asked whether this was something that we do or have done in the past, and it seems like we haven't. And it seems like a great opportunity for us to start something positive for the community. So what I'm hoping is that we can display the Pride flag at Town Hall and encourage residents to display Pride flags at their homes. I believe the library has Pride Month content that they already had in planning. So it'll be nice to be able to cross promote that and potentially have, the beginnings of just a small flag raising ceremony. Still working out what or who that would involve at this point, since it's a quick turnaround, but already a little bit of interest in that. So there'll be more to report, and hopefully the beginnings of something quite nice for the community.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and I'm really supportive. I'm glad you brought it to us. I had seen some other Northern Westchester municipalities were doing the same, and so I'm glad that we jumped on. I don't want to say jumped on the bandwagon, but got on board and are doing that in our community as well. I think it's a really nice show of allyship and recognition of the contributions of the LGBTQ community, both here in Newcastle and more broadly.
So I think, so then Ivy, I think the other component of this was, I think you had suggested that perhaps we could have a resolution to recognize Pride Month that would accompany this.
Yeah, that'd be great. The Newcastle Council on Race and Equity, the CRE, has done an amazing job of putting together some resolutions this year to recognize various sort of months of the year, as it were. So, if we can kind of do something similar to recognize Pride Month within Newcastle, I think it'd be great to pass that at next week's meeting.
Great.
Next on the agenda, we just have.
Oh, Rob, can I just ask a question? Is there anything we need to do procedurally to, or is just kind of all nodding right now? as much as we need to do.
Yep, that's sufficient. Yeah, no official town action is needed. You have the consent of the board, and it's just administratively done.
Great.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of administrative items. We have payment of claims, the adoption of minutes from May 18th. We are authorizing to accept the CHIPS funds, and I can report with good news this year. The total of the CHIPS, they increased the funding for the CHIPS, the Pave New York, and the Extreme Winter Recovery Program. And the total of those three amounts combined and added with a little bit of rollover we had from last year, it's about $445,000. We had budgeted $225,000. So we've got a little over $200,000 additional, which just to remind the board, typically when this happens, we put that back into the road paving program. So we didn't have so far a particularly terrible winter. We did have a couple of storms, and we did buy some salt, and we did have some overtime costs, but nothing extreme. So most likely we'll be using the additional $220,000 to put back into the road paving for the budget this year.
Once again, Rob's conservative budgeting pays off. Yay.
Well, we typically know we're going to get about 200 and, I think it's about 222 or 223 has been guaranteed over the last few years. The Pave New York and the Extreme Winter Recovery, those have actually been fairly consistent. There were years when we didn't receive that, but over the last couple of years we have Again, difficult to budget because that number isn't the same every year. And it's not based, like the CHIPS money is based on your miles of roads. I'm not sure the exact formula for the other two. So that number varies, but it was nice to see. That's a significant bump from last year. I have a couple of authorization, one to bid for highway material items that we are not able to extend from prior year's contracts. And then we're going to ask for authorization to extend highway materials bids from a couple of vendors. I think those are mostly the paving vendors, aren't they? Jill?
Yes.
The road paving vendor that we're able to extend for an additional year, and we're looking to do that. Authorization to award the RFP for the Inningwood Pump Station roof replacement. And we're looking to award the bid for the camp bathrooms out at Amsterdam.
Okay.
Any questions or comments on any of those items?
Rob, we didn't get the trailer material in, the tent rather rental for the camps?
I
Just the
haven't seen
bathroom? Okay,
it. Yeah, not yet. Lauren, have you seen that?
No,
okay,
they were expecting
next
it to
week.
come in, but it didn't. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Great.
Looks like that's it for the work session.
Okay, thanks. Can we get a motion to adjourn the work session and open the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the town board meeting for Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. The first order of business is our supervisor's report. And as I have in weeks past, I will hold the majority of my items for the e-newsletter. I did just want to take a moment at the beginning of this meeting to recognize the fact that tonight is the 1 year anniversary. Today is the 1 year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, an event that we all know touched off painful and traumatic and much needed reconsideration and reconciliation of the role of race and ethnicity here in our country and in our own community. And I just wanted to take a moment during this meeting to pause and have a moment of silence to remember George Floyd. Tonight, obviously, we're mourning the life that we lost, and we're also celebrating the movement that he inspired. So if we could all just take a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. And as I said, the rest of my supervisor's report will appear in the newsletter tomorrow. Jill, do you have anything for the town administrator's report?
I do. I just wanted to remind everybody that this upcoming Monday is Memorial Day. I'm sure you're going to cover it in your in the e-newsletter that's coming out tomorrow. But so it's a little different this year. We were really thrilled that we were able to do an in-person ceremony. We were not able to plan a parade because when the planning for this started back in March, we were still under severe restrictions for outdoor assemblies. So we are having a ceremony down at the train station, right in Memorial Circle, right in front of the Chappaqua train station, 11 o'clock. I hope everyone will be able to join us. A shout out to Tiffany White, who did a fabulous, fabulous job. First time inaugural ceremony. She didn't get the parade, but she got the ceremony. We're going to ease her into it. Next year, it will be the ceremony and the parade. But also Jim McCauley, as always, and Peter Gaudet, who just fabulously helpful in taking and pulling it all together. So I hope everyone will take time to come down and join us Monday, the 31st, Memorial Day at 11 a.m. at the train station. Thanks.
Jill, are we having the ceremony at the top of the hill also, like we usually
No,
do?
we're not.
No?
We're just going to be at the bottom.
Okay.
That usually kicks off our parade. So since we weren't doing the parade, we decided to keep it nice and small.
Okay.
Will there be a wreath though at the top?
Yes, there will be a wreath at the top as well. Jim McCauley was going to take care of that. We are going to have Girl Scouts involved with the wreath at the bottom of the hill. we're just waiting to get a couple more troop numbers. And I also know that the Girl Scouts took and decorated. They do plantings for us down at right around the monument that's there. And we're just waiting to get the troop and those names so that we can properly acknowledge and thank them for their hard work that they do every year. They make the place look beautiful. So it's very sweet. The entire community comes out and, and participates in this. It's a lovely thing. That's all I have.
Thanks, Jill. So we've come to the portion of our meeting that is dedicated to public comment and new business. So if anyone is here this evening who would like to make a public comment, please feel free to raise your digital hand. And while you consider whether or not to do so, I'll check in with Carrie Krams from NCCMC and see whether we have any comments that have come in over YouTube.
Nothing on YouTube. We do have C. Moses raising their hand.
Great.
Going to open the line. Hold on one moment. Okay, just unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, it's Cynthia Moses, 100 Glendale Road. I am wanting to give the town board some observations from the west end of Newcastle, and I'm quite frankly upset. A few weeks ago, the Sunshine Home, which is in full construction mode, approached the planning board, not following the proper deadlines for notification and so forth, to request an extension for their steep slopes special permit. And this would be the second steep slope special permit extension that they are requesting. And in your town code, you don't get a second extension for steep slopes without a public meeting. And in 3 minutes, the attorney for Sunshine Home requested this extension in front of the planning board. Planning board basically said, how you doing? What's up? Sounds good. And they all voted yes for a second extension. And I would add that the attorney said, I'll probably see you back in October for another extension. So I want to bring it to your attention, because it would seem that even with the request for this extension, which should have been a public process, the town wasn't up to date on what was going on site. Like, why would you be asking for an extension that you're not entitled to without a public hearing? That was missed. And how are you doing? The town has, this is one of the biggest projects, if not currently the biggest project of the town that's happening. And I super appreciate that Bob Scioli, when we called this out, like an error in procedure, at least, that there isn't a full review of where they're at, public review. He went over there to take a look, which is great. But his observations, which he brought back to the planning board attorney, were that they were pretty much finished with their steep slopes work. So he didn't know why they were talking about this extension plus another possible extension. And the planning board attorney, Jennifer Gray, agreed that that raised a flag. She wasn't sure why. So it will be on the planning board agenda for next week to rediscuss. But I am requesting that the town rescind the steep slopes extension until further notice and do a stop work order on that. From my home, it's interesting when I hear the discussions about noise, town noise, and the concern for leaf blowers, and how, there should be no leaf blowing with oil run versions of leaf blowers in the summer months, because people want to enjoy the outdoor without all the noise. I've been living with 3 years of noise, and I can guarantee you that right now, the amount of noise ramped back up in the last couple of weeks, possibly because of fear that this extension is going to be rescinded, it should have been automatically rescinded for review. And there should have been more oversight over why they would ask for this extension as well. So just to kind of tie it up, the bottom line of their approval from 3 years ago says, be it further resolved that if said conditions are not fully complied with within the above time limits, that said wetlands permit, tree removal permits, steep slope permit, and stormwater pollution prevention plan shall be disapproved. So does anyone know anything about what's happening over there? Because they were reapproved beyond the code availability for just automatic reapproval.
So Ivy and Jill on the board, we'll look into this. First time hearing of it. We'll speak to Jennifer Gray and then we'll get back to you on that.
And I would request that it be available for public comment, the planning board meeting on this agenda item. Because from what I understand, the developer asked for an extension, which I get from last week, and wanted to be present at the meeting, not just their attorney coming back to discuss it. I think it should be open to public comment so that the planning board can also have some understanding of the experience of the community. So
I understand. I'll take that back and discuss it with Ms. Gray and let the town know.
thank you. I super appreciate it.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cynthia. Okay, seeing no other hands raised. I made a pause there just in case. We'll go ahead and move forward with the agenda. I think we are on to the consent agenda for this evening. So we have a number of items that are listed before us in the consent agenda this evening. Before we move forward with that, I want to check in with my colleagues and see whether anyone would like to remove any of these items from the consent agenda in order to consider them separately. Okay, hearing none. Is someone ready to move forward with the resolutions, starting with the consent agenda?
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
You go ahead, Lisa.
No, it's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to go through the. All right, so I move to approve the consent. Pardon me. I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted, consisting of the adoption of minutes, May 11th, May 18th of this year, authorization to reappoint Claudia Mulas and Travis Bechtel in the ARB, authorization to approve transcription, authorization to continue premium support service for handheld device water meter reading program equipment, authorization to purchase recycling garage door replacement, street opening permit bond release 2019 0004, authorization to approve change orders, Inningwood Pump Station, authorization to hire Hazen and Sawyer for additional engineering services for the MWTP boiler replacement, authorization to hire camp counselors, authorization to accept CHIPS funding, authorization to extend highway material bid items, authorization to bid for highway material items, authorization to promote 2 water maintenance worker, grade 2, authorization to promote supervisor of water systems operations, authorization to post position for assistant water systems supervisor, authorization to post position for labor with the DPW water unit, authorization to award bid for camp bathroom trailer, and authorization to award RFP for Inningwood Pump Station roof replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
I move to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $636,885.07 listed on the summary pre-check writing report and detail voucher detail report, both dated May 20th of this year. Checks will be issued and mailed to each claimant listed on Wednesday, May 26th of this year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was it just those two, or do we have the Pride? Do we have to approve the Pride flag?
No, we don't.
Oh.
We don't need to. According to Nick, we don't need to do anything
All right,
procedurally.
Okay,
That's right.
I apologize.
So I think that's it.
So motion to adjourn.
Please.
I
So-
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
Good night.
Not all.